welcome back to my channel. I have this pot of variegated and regular Yeti. I talked about this on my IKEA shelf redo video, that it was infested with flat mites, and unfortunately it was infested so bad that many of the nodes were severely damaged. The plant looks like it has an issue. I mean, it's quite noticeable. So what I've been wanting to do is to let the plant grow out a little bit and then take some cuttings from it. And I'm at the point now where I'm going to try and take some cuttings, and I thought I'd show you how I do that. So I have this plant, and the first thing that I'm going to show you is a stem like this. This stem right here, and I'm going to have to zoom in and post. See these knobs? This is damaged, all damaged by this right here. This is all damaged by flat mites. These will grow, but they will never produce healthy leaves. So it's gotta go. I have made the decision to cut it. This is an experiment. I'm going to take cuttings. I'm going to pot up the cuttings that are damaged. I'm going to pot up the cuttings that are not damaged. I'm going to see what happens to each. So I'm not going to actually discard the plant. I'm just going to see what happens. This is a long tendril with nothing growing on it. So I think we'll start over here with something growing on. So this is emerging from a base with some damage. So the closest node I'm going to get is that, and then I'm going to go ahead, for space reasons, I'm going to trim that. So I'm going to keep these over here. These are good cuttings. Okay, so let's take a look at that. That looks okay. So I'm going to leave the two leaves that are attached at the node, and then I'm just going to cut the cutting up that came out of it. Now this cutting is heavily scarred, so I'm going to cut it all the way at the base, and we're going to put that in that pile. I see damage, no damage. So this has no damage, and it's variegated, so I'll set that over there. And this has damage, and it's variegated, and it comes from a base. I'm thinking for survival reasons, I'm going to cut right there and right there. That looks healthy. That I'm not sure about, and that no. Okay, this one goes all the way around to here. Okay, so that goes in the damaged pile. Okay, and here we got some variegated, and it looks all damaged, unfortunately. So I'm going to take this right from the base. This is all brand new, and it looks beautiful. Okay, this is damaged. this is damaged and something fell off. Two things fell off. Okay, we got good looking growth here with a long stem. And a bad node. And that's damaged. This I'm not sure about because it's got good growth and new growth. I'm gonna just cut that off. But it's just a node. To show you what I'm looking at this node right here, where there's not really much to cut on. So I'm trying to save as much of the plant as I can, but even trying to save the plant has its limits. Like, I will try to save that. There is the tiniest little bit of stem. But what I will also do is I will give myself insurance, and I will make that a single cut, and I will give the rest of the cut a longer node. I mean a longer stem. This is a solid mass. As you can see, this is what happens to nodes when they are heavily damaged by mites. Let this be a lesson. Ooh, I think we have something positive here. I think we have a whole Wyetii variegated rooted. Okay, this one's variegated. See if there's anything I can save on this. These look good, but the bottom node does not. So we'll try to save that. Oh, and it's even got a new leaf. Oop, one dropped. That node, no. So here we go. Got something twisted around. Is it from the other one? No. It's just a little rooted. There we go. It's just a little rooted one. So I can break that off. And then we have this big giant one. I should have got out my potting mat because this is going to make a mess. Where is my potting mat?
A few moments later.
It's kind of like, you know, opening the barn door after you let the horse out, you know, but what are you gonna do? At least I thought of it. Okay, so let's dig out these two Wyetii eyes. Figure out what I did with this plant. Looks like I didn't rinse off the dirt very well. Not at all. I really went far on cleaning this one out, didn't I? These are old roots. And unfortunately, I'm looking at this and the base is infected. So I think anything that comes from this plant is going to be a goner. So this is what I'm doing. All these little what I call friable roots, these little thin, frazzly roots, I'm just cutting. They're past their prime. They did their job. They worked for the substrate they were in at the time, but now they're going in pond. And pond is a different animal. Sorry for the squeaking, that's me. I have a nervous tick. I bounce my leg up and down when I'm nervous. Sorry, I try to control it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so see, these are the roots I left on this one. These are the roots I deem healthy. And on this little guy, I'm gonna cut off all those little, see, I'm just gently pulling. Anything that pulls off, I'm just taking with me. So I'm just cutting right there. I'm just gonna cut that entire root off. I'm not even gonna mess with it. As for this guy, there we go. I'm going to make the executive decision and cut the stem, but I'm not going to cut the stem there. I'm going to cut the stem here where it's healthy. All right, so that's my trash. That's some water. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the cuttings. I'm going to put these in pond root because I want to keep them stable. Got my pond here, inorganic substrate, zeolite pumice lava rock, slow release fertilizer. I personally still use the General Hydroponics 3-step fertilizer at every watering. Half straight. Okay, sorry about that. I had to take a little break, clear up some of this stuff. Had changed the camera angle. It was a little not conducive to what we were doing. So what I did in the meantime was I pulled out this cup. This is a 4-inch self-watering pot. I filled it up with pond. I put a wick in it. I use a wick so that I only need to fill up the pot to this far to keep the pond wet. I do not need to keep the pond soaked in water at all times. So I have this. So what I'm gonna do is right now if you notice, I did not fill it up to the top. I filled it up almost all the way because most of these cuttings are short. They do not have long stems that I'm gonna have to fill in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm literally gonna kind of take these and just kind of wiggle them down. Nothing real technical about it. And looking at this is a pretty heavy cutting for such a little stem. So I'm going to give it the best chance for life, and I'm going to divide it in half. And here's another stem, and this is kind of interesting because see, we have a barely variegated Yeti on this one. So this one, I'm looking at it and it's also pretty long, so I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this shorter too, so that way the thin little stem is not trying to supply water to 16 different leaves. It's only got to supply water to just a couple. And I push them down in. It's okay if the first node is submerged. That's okay. The roots will form from that node as well. If there are any that are kind of pesky and don't want to keep sitting in place, I have something called strawberry forks, and I'll get those out in a minute. Why I didn't bring those when I was taking my break, I don't know. I have no good reason. So I'll bring those out and we'll put those on. I'm looking at this, and this one's definitely gonna need a strawberry fork. Definitely. 10 out of 10. All right, then we got this one. This one's got a fairly, let me check the stem. Oh, nope, see sap. Okay, got the variegated ones. Oop, let's see. Nope, that's in the do not disturb pile. I think I want to keep this as just variegated. It would be nice to have just a pot of variegated for once. I actually paid for a pot of variegated, and this is what I got. So a little bit of sorcery there. A little. Uh-oh, they're all falling. Let me go grab the strawberry forks. Be right back.
2 hours later.
Okay, quick little detour. So I grabbed another pot because we're gonna pot those up separately. I have next to no strawberry forks, so that'll be placed in order. This is a strawberry fork. It is used to place vines next to the ground so they root and do not travel. So basically what you do is you have a pesky Hoya root, say this one, that will not stay in. What you do is you position it in the leca, or I'm sorry, in the pond. See, I'm used to leca. Position it in like that. I'm gonna have to hold it up, so it'll be a little weird. Then you take this and you push down. I'm gonna have to position it to make sure I get it right, so I don't tell you wrong. Okay. So then you position it like this, so that it's grabbed on top of and holding onto the node and pinning down that particular cutting so it can't move. It is pinned to the substrate. Hopefully we don't need all of these to do that, because I only have like 6 of these, so that one's good. This one looks like it'll need one. In a pinch, you can always use wire. You can use anodized aluminum wire. I wouldn't use copper wire because sometimes copper wire can have interactions with your fertilizers. You can use, most wire should work, but as long as it's aluminum. I wouldn't use tin or anything like that. Anything that can rust, steer clear. So I am supposed to be working in my mat, which I'm not doing, sorry. Talk about being prepared and not using your preparations. I'm not a good Girl Scout. Of course, I was only in Girl Scouts for 1 year, so. Okay, so put this in here. So we got this one, which is too long and thin by itself. Pon is nice for this kind of work, only second to soil in terms of pinning down cuttings, because the pon parts so nice with the strawberry clip and keeps it in so securely. Okay. Now what will happen is you don't keep the strawberry forks in forever. You keep them in until the root system is well established, and then once you can pass the tug test, then you pull the strawberry forks out. So they're not a permanent accessory to your plant. So if you were getting worried about the little orange additions to your pot, don't worry about them. They sell clear now, which is interesting. I've seen them. I'm gonna have to look them up to see what they look like. I tend to go for the most economical choice. Right now, the clear are more expensive than the traditional strawberry forks. So I'm holding out on them. And what you can also do is squeeze the net pot itself. That will help the pins get in place. Like that one was actually coming out the side, so that's not what you want. Uh-oh. See, this is a process. Don't let this discourage you. This happens, especially with cuttings with like tiny little stems. Don't let this fool you. This is real life. This is, you know, I hate to say that I'm an especially clumsy person. Well, I kind of am an especially clumsy person. I'm not the world's greatest potter. I will say that for sure. So I could definitely not be the best one at this. But yeah, you know, this is real world. I don't edit this stuff out. You know, what you see with me is what's actually going to happen to you. And if I drop something 3 times, you might drop something 3 times. And guess what? You're not going to feel bad about it, because I don't feel bad about it. These are plants. I am giving this plant another chance at life. This plant came to me smaller than it is now, which means I have helped it grow and enlarge, enriching its life. So even though I'm cutting it up right now, it's still larger than when it came to me. So I am just, my experimentation in this is really of no detriment to the initial plant I got. This is all new growth per se. So I don't see this as doing anything bad to the plant. Sometimes you have to cut up a plant. There's nothing wrong with that. This plant was just not looking its best. But now that we rearrange this, now that we put these in new pots, it's going to look so nice. So let's put this pot up. This is our new pot of variegated Wyetii. It will be interesting to see how they grow. Now let's go ahead and get a pot for the regular Wyetii, which is a smaller amount, but still equally important. You know, we don't waste plants here. The nice thing about this is these plants will grow accustomed to a damp style of potting substrate, to speak. They will not be used to soil. If you want to put these plants in soil, there would be a transition. These plants would be used to water. You know, this is a water type medium. This is semi-hydroponics, so they would be used to that. Tree fern fiber, I don't have any experience with it. It sounds very interesting. I would love to see the properties of how airy it is, how much moisture it retains, how draining it is. I think it's a very interesting medium. I do look forward to it coming to the part of the U.S. I'm in. We had a little camera adjustment issue again. So what we're gonna do is, I'm looking at this and there is some new growth that I'm not quite sure about. I think it's just a broken leaf. Okay, so we're gonna put this in here. This one's nice because this is sun stressed black, so those are always nice because those take a long time to sun stress black. So to have one already good to go is nice. And it's okay if they're sideways or, you know, they look like they're underneath. It's fine. They'll be fine. All right, let's go over here. This one probably won't need it, but we'll do it just to make sure. Okay, so that one looks good. We're gonna go ahead and cut this one. I will leave that node and I will just trim right here. I will take this, and these look like they are new nodes, so we are gonna, with this nice long stem, we're just gonna wiggle it down all the way. And then this little guy with this little nub of a stem definitely gets a strawberry fork. And by this point in time, you kind of get the idea. It's kind of a, wherever you can make room is where you put them. Okay, so now we have a full pot of regular Wyetii, soon to be a nice happy full pot. We'll park that in a 4-inch pot and just leave that be. Looks like a nice new pot. This will be discarded. All of this, it looks like this is mostly pond, but it does have some organic material mixed in. So I'm not actually going to renew that. I'm not going to reuse that, or I should say boil that. Okay. So this one we're going to play kind of fast and loose with the cuttings, because they are not as what's the word I want to use? They are not as valuable. If they do not thrive, that will not bother me too much, because the chances of these producing viable new growth after all of this is like slim and none. But because we can never say never with plants, at least, I'm going to give it a shot. I kind of made it an executive decision that I'm going to make this practice pot just variegated. I'm kind of up in the air about it, but you know, it's just a space thing, and mainly it's a strawberry fork thing. I just don't have any more strawberry forks, so I can only pin down what forks I have. So anything else I can't root. I just don't have the means to root them. So unfortunately they have to say arrivederci. This is the experimental pot. We'll see how that goes. You know, who knows? Basically what I did was I took this pot of variegated and regular green Wyetii, and it had been infested really bad by mites, by false mites, or is it flat mites? I get that confused. Anyway, the little tiny microscopic mites that you can't see. They were in this weird sort of semi-hydro and organic mix that I do not understand why I had this in here, and that's just a very bad thing. So what I did was I saved all of the plant that I could. Anything that did not have damage, I potted up into these two plants. I have the variegated and the regular. And then for fun, just to see if these would happen to grow any new non-damaged leaves and stems, I saved this pot of variegated Wyetii just to see what'll happen. So we'll put that to the side. That's going to be it for today. I really appreciated you joining me today for this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos from me, I'd really appreciate you subscribing to my channel. Any comments you have, please list them below. And have a great day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.